Welcome back to the Shallon Tourage, you guys. I am Shallon, and this is my Tourage. Today, we're finally going to talk about a topic that you guys have been asking for forever, which is love lessons from Gossip Girl, specifically Chuck and Blair's relationship and why he would never say I love you to her, why that was like the bridge too far, the monster under the bed for him. And this is going to segue into a larger topic, which is how to deal with guys who have trust issues, right? Because you guys are always submitting me questions and a lot of them have to do with that exact same thing. But before we get into it, I just want to remind you guys that if you have a love question of your own, you want some private counseling one-on-one with me, find me on the Instant Go app. My username is ShallonXO and click chat to get connected right away. And follow me on social media, Instagram, Snapchat, and Twitter at ShallonXO. And click like and subscribe for new videos every Friday and new ones every other day in between. So Gossip Girl. If you guys didn't know, I actually used to write for Gossip Girl, and don't worry, I told everyone I ever met, I am Gossip Girl. I'm the real life Gossip Girl. Like, I was a nightmare, but it was really fun. And so I have like a huge love in my heart for the series and the website and the books and all of it. The whole Gossip Girl world was just amazing. So like everyone, Chuck and Blair were my favorite. I was never like into Serena. I kind of like didn't understand why everyone was like, oh, like had such a boner for Serena. I was like Queen B all the way Blair. And I love her. And I loved Chuck and Blair together because they brought out like the best and yet the worst in each other. And they were like wicked and calculating and dramatic and just alive. But he wouldn't say, I love you. We all remember what Blair said. 3 words, 8 letters, say it and I'm yours. And he couldn't do it. Now, in college, I majored essentially in logic. I majored in rhetorical criticism. I usually say communication because what is rhetorical criticism? It's very Latin and weird sounding, but it's basically like argumentation, logic, persuasion, all that kind of stuff. And we read a lot of books on logic. And the principle of logic, one of the foundations of logic and one of the tenets is the simplest answer is usually the right one, right? You watch a Dateline and it's like the husband obviously killed his wife. And he's like, no, it was this stranger in the night who came in and you're just like, what the fuck? Like it would take so many leaps of logic to buy that. And it's just so ridiculous. So what does that have to do with love? And certainly what does it have to do with Chuck and Blair? Because when you think about why isn't a guy saying I love you? The simplest answer is because he doesn't love you. I know. I don't want to say this to you. I don't want to have to say this to anyone. I don't want this to be true ever. But logically, that's probably what it is. And we kind of give guys a little too much credit in terms of like their own self-awareness and introspection. I've said this in many, many videos. When people are hurtful to us, when they're leading us on, when they're not giving us what we want, one foot outside the door or they in or they out, they're not going back to like their layer and to their like string map and like, phase the first complete. Now we're on to phase 2. We're going to do that. It's not like a conscious plan they're carrying out. This is just kind of happening. And look, not that that's an excuse because drunk driving is just kind of happening. You still run someone over with your car and you kill them. So like, I'm not really super amenable to people who are just like, well, I don't know, just like a passenger in their own life. And yet they're also driving the car and running other people down emotionally. I don't find that okay. Especially if you're in a situation where like it's love, like this isn't just like crushes and whatever. You're not like children. It's like if someone is like, this is how I feel. And you're like, I don't know. I don't find that acceptable behavior. So you guys say to me like, we've been together. And usually you guys are having this question right around like 2 months. I feel the love. I want to say it. I don't think he's going to say it back. Why isn't he saying it to me? Should I say it first? Do not ever say it first. Literally don't ever say I love you first. I can tell you from experience. I did it. And it didn't like turn out badly. He wasn't like, I don't like you. He said it back and we had a good relationship. This is my college boyfriend. We dated for 2 years. It was a healthy relationship, but I never forgot that. And it robbed me of that moment when I got to hear him say it for the first time. It's like, I probably could propose marriage to a man. I'm not going to because that's something I get as a woman. I've said before, I don't want to be treated equally. I want to be treated better, baby, because life isn't equal. It's a whole other fucking story. But even if I'm not a feminist or I am or whatever, I don't think it's too much to ask to have a man be the one out on that emotional risky limb, not his woman. He's going to want to make an environment where she feels protected and loved and stable. And we shouldn't even be asking ourselves these questions. I shouldn't even be creeping out on that emotional limb to squawk, I love you, and like then drop to the ground emotionally. I don't want to have to do that. Blair shouldn't have had to do that. And it always bothered me that that was the plot point between them because it was so seemingly contrary to who she was. Like she should not have been the girl to be like, do you love me yet? How about now? Can you just say it? No, she'd be like, bye, you don't see my value. Or if you do and you can't communicate it, that's worse. That's worse. Because that's what like a child does. They recognize that that's a cow and can they articulate it? No, they cannot. I don't date a toddler for a reason. Several reasons. So in that sense, if you reframe it like, maybe I'm dating an emotional toddler who either doesn't love me, or if he does, he doesn't know how to express it. And in any one of these cases, he's not removing himself from the relationship. If you don't love someone, okay, you're not obligated to. I tell you guys this all the time. Like, this really nice guy likes me. I don't like him. Like, who says you have to? Bye. But that's the thing. Bye. You have to say the bye because you can't stick around, stay connected to something and be wasting someone's time knowing you are not going to give them what they want. And you can't allow a person to do that to you either. I've said before in videos about boundaries, the person you need to put up boundaries against is never going to be the one to do it. The coyote isn't the one building the fence. You know, they're not the one doing that. You got to build it. And that's unfair. It's unfair if you look at the writing on the wall and you're like, this person probably doesn't love me. I've said it. They're not saying it back. And you have to be the one to remove yourself. You have to be your own executioner. And it sucks. But let's say that you think he does love you. You know, let's say that for all intents and purposes, things are going well in the relationship. When should you be like worried? You know what I mean? I think saying I love you should happen around 3 to 6 months. I think that's a very normal range. Beware if it happens too soon. If you are wanting him to say I love you within the first month, I think you need to look at why you got your foot on the gas with this thing. And it's a whole other story that you can contact me about and we'll talk about it, you know? So really kind of like analyze, like, is this on par? Like, am I going too fast? And if you're like, no, I need him to say this, I think it's important to, when we fixate on like, I'm not going to say an arbitrary marker in a relationship because it isn't. Expressing how you feel about someone is not arbitrary at all. But I know we have these milestones in a relationship. Do you know what I mean? The first time he calls you his girlfriend in public in front of his friends. The first time he says, I love you. There's a reason people propose with a diamond. It's a marker. You know, it means something. It legitimizes the situation. But I talked to a lot of you guys who are really fixated on like maybe getting married to someone. It's like, no, I have to marry. It's like, well, why? What does that mean to you? And if you can't answer that, maybe look at the rest of your relationship and be like, have I localized all of my unhappiness onto this marker? Because I'm not getting what I need in the rest of my relationship. You know, if I never got married, if I never heard the I love you, if I love you wasn't even a phrase that you were able to say, if marriage was off the table completely, didn't even exist, would I look at this relationship and be like, I am happy, I am fulfilled, I'm supported, I'm loved, I feel like he's an emotional safe place for me to fall? Does he? Because we all have different love languages. And I've talked about love languages in a bunch of other videos. I think there's like 5. It comes from the book, The 5 Love Languages, catchy, which is weirdly Jesus focused. I've never understood why, but feel free to ignore that part or take it. But we all have different love languages in ways we express our love. Gifts, compliments, quality time, physical touch, and gestures, acts of service. And usually we have like 1 or 2 that we like really hone in on. I need compliments and acts of service. You know, other people need, most boys need physical touch. Guys are very tactile. You know, they're very like earthy and connected in that way. And they need to like be able to hold and see their woman, which is why guys don't do well with long distance relationships typically. It's just like they cannot conceptualize it. Women do better with long distance because if you give us that emotional connection, we feel more connected to the relationship. You know, it doesn't have to be like every night. We're good. So look at your relationship and be like, how else is he demonstrating love? What are his love languages? Maybe his love language is acts of service. That's what he gives to you. But it's like, maybe you don't give a shit about that. You want compliments. You want quality time. You don't want him to come over and change your oil. Like, that's not a date to you. It's important to look at that, buy the book, or just look it up on the website and have just like a breezy conversation about it. Oh, I was watching Shallon's videos. They're so amazing. Click like and subscribe. And she was talking about love languages. Look at this. Here's what mine are. What do you think yours are? Then you can weave in there. I love that you do the acts of service and the physical touch, but I'm a girl. I need to know things. Like, I really love it when you express how you feel about me. I love the mushy, and it doesn't have to be public. Doesn't need to be an Instagram caption or in your bio, but like, I need to know those things, because if I don't hear it, I assume that you don't feel it. And then it makes me wonder why I'm investing more and more of myself into this relationship if maybe we're not on the same page. And let those seeds kind of plant. Give it a week or two. And if nothing changes, if there's no more openness, we maybe have to go back to that logical thing of maybe he doesn't feel it. Or the toddler example. Maybe that's just not a capability. It's very frustrating when you love someone and they're just not capable of something, And that, I think, is with Chuck and Blair. Here's another thing we have to realize about Chuck and Blair. And I'm not saying this flippantly. I'm not saying it to be glib. They're fictitious. I know, Shallon. I know that you know. We all know. But it's important to understand that, because what TVs and movies have done to us is they have normalized things and patterns and cycles that are not normal and that are not healthy, and they're so much more dramatic than they need to be. But they have to be. On TV, that's kind of where we're here, is to watch the drama. It's literally a drama show. I used to, when I was young, because this is what we all do when we're young, we're socialized off TV. It's like, I don't know, I live in my house and then I go to school and I go to soccer practice, and like, that's kind of my purview of the world. I go on vacation, but like, I don't know what an adult relationship is supposed to look like. I know based on what I've seen, and what I've seen is in books and movies. Yes, you see it within your friendships, but they're watching the same TV shows and reading books exact same way. So it isn't normal for a guy not to say I love you. It isn't. I don't care how bro-y you are. I date bros. I date alpha males. Powder blue shirts. They work in finance. They play Division I lacrosse. They're from Westport, Connecticut. Bros. They're mushy as fuck. Have you seen my boyfriend? Go on my Instagram. He is like hype beast. He's a fitness model, Nike trainer. Like, whoa. Like, you don't want to meet him. He's always wanted to murder someone. And he's like, baby, I love you, blah, 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 tiny paws. Like, he's just the mushiest person in the whole world. And that is normal. It isn't normal to have to like shake a feeling out of a guy. I promise you, when it's right, it's easy. But no one makes a show about that. Think about a show like a cooking show. You watch like Hell's Kitchen with Gordon Ramsay. That gives you, if you had never experienced a kitchen or a restaurant or had a home cooked meal, and that was your only experience of cuisine, you'd be like, holy shit, that's dramatic. But it isn't. That's not how cooking is. Like, your dad isn't like screaming at your mom while she's making a pot roast. Your roommates aren't like fighting back and forth, like wrestling over the last piece of Kraft singles for the grilled cheese. Like, it's not that deep. It's not. But we know that because we have that real world experience with cooking. We have the day-to-day experience. So we recognize that that cooking show is for fun. It's for drama. But that's harder to do when it's a show about interpersonal relationships, because inherently, you don't grow up having a boyfriend your entire elementary school career. You just don't have that. But you do have me. So I'm here to tell you what's normal and what's not. So this brings me to the second part. Guys with trust issues. I honestly feel like I should do a whole separate video on this, because there is just an endless amount of things I can say. Trust issues are just such bullshit. They are such bullshit. You know who's got trust issues? You, me, everyone. You ever put your hand out for a high five and they're like, too slow. Oh, I've got trust issues. I can never shake anyone's hand again. Imagine if someone said that to you. Imagine if you were in a business meeting and you went to shake your hand for someone. Like, oh no, I don't shake hands. Someone once said too slow and pulled their hand away. So I have trust issues. I don't shake hands now. It's not that different in terms of relationships. And when I hear you guys say, he's not committing to me because someone broke his heart. He won't show up for dates because he had a crazy ex-girlfriend. I'm sorry, I see zero connection between that scenario and this scenario. Every single human person over the age of 11 has had a broken heart. Everyone. Everyone. He is not special. And this is also, when I do the digging, it's like, oh yeah, his high school girlfriend broke up with him. Like, did she murder his family? What do you mean? She broke up with him? That's how it goes. That isn't, that's like the normal pattern of human dating. It sucks to get your heart broken, but it's not the same as being traumatic. Girls don't fuck guys up the way they fuck us up. You know what I mean? I don't know very many girls who ghost on guys. I don't know girls who stand dudes up for dates. I'm not saying it doesn't happen, but I personally don't know any, nor have I met any in my 30-something years of being alive on this planet. I don't know any girls who send unsolicited pics of their genitals. I don't know any girls who wine and dine a guy, fuck him, and then never talk to them again. I don't know these people. Maybe they're out there. I don't know girls who rape men or who sexually assault them. So I am not quite as elastic on that whole like thing with boys, because cowboy the fuck up. You got your heart broken? Okay. Was your fiance like washed out to sea in a tsunami? Do you get deployed to Iraq? What's your actual story here? Because I want you to realize one thing. The number one thing a sociopath wants, you've heard me say this, what is it? Pity. Pity. Not power, not revenge. Pity. Why? Because pity is very useful. Very useful. Think about when you're late to work. You make an excuse that draws pity. Oh, I'm sorry, my alarm didn't go off and my cat was throwing up, blah, 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 blah. When a guy is trying to get out of consequences for his own shitty behavior, which is usually, he's not really that into it, but he's going to keep you on the hook just in case he can't do any better while he looks around and sleeps around, making sure he can't do better. But he's going to kind of keep you in like the reserve league and then maybe call you up to the B team. Not really ever the A team, the B.5 team when he's bored, horny, lonely, needs an ego boost, etc. So that's the card he's going to play. I've been hurt before, my ex-girlfriend was crazy. Oh, wow. You know who gets called crazy? Girls who put up boundaries. Girls who say, I've had enough. I bet someone has called you crazy. And we've all done a little crazy things. Who hasn't cut the crotches out of a guy's slacks once or twice? I mean, don't leave me at home with the scissors after you cheat on me. That's a mistake. But overall, guys are always going to default to, I don't know, she was crazy. She really fucked me up. Okay, so go to therapy. If you get in a car accident and your back gets fucked up, you don't just like lay in bed for the rest of your life. You're like, I'm going to go to physical therapy. I'm going to go to the chiropractor. You get laid off from a job. You get fired from Ben & Jerry's when you're 17. You're not like, well, I guess I'm retiring. I have trust issues now. No. Don't make the excuse that somehow romance is above and beyond these basic rules. It isn't. I mean, you can think that. You can act like that and act that out. It's your funeral. You know? It's not going to go well. Probably you know that because you're here on this video or you've chatted with me. Like, that's, again, it's not normal. We have to stop making excuses for guys. We have to stop normalizing. They're also very like typical romantic foibles, ups and downs, as being catastrophic and therefore deserving of a lifetime of get out of jail free cards, get out of responsibility free. Why? I don't think he's doing that for you. When was the last time you got to act like an asshole and someone's like, oh, it's okay. Shallon's she got divorced. Just let her do whatever she wants. I don't get to act like that in my relationships ever. And that's the thing. I don't get into a relationship if I'm not ready to be a good person about it. You can have trust issues, but don't date. You can be afraid of like the handshake. Don't put your hand out. You know, take yourself out of these situations. You don't get to be in them and then terrorize everyone else with your bullshit. Because then what he's doing is he's making you do not 50% of the work, which is how a relationship goes, 50-50. He's making you do about 90%. Because hey, he's so wounded, he's so fucking wounded. I don't know. I can't text you back. I had my girlfriend in high school like slept with someone on the football team. I can't show up for dinner. I can't plan a date. Okay, so you're gonna do that? So basically you're dating yourself. Girl, I date myself. When I'm single, I love dating myself. I wine and dine. I'm a great time. I'm a delight. But that's the thing. I'm by myself and I'm making all the decisions. Stop normalizing his pain. Stop making his pain your pain now, because he is just like the victim and you're just like hauling you both through this drudgery of a relationship that is clearly not working. And stop normalizing a woman's suffering as collateral damage for a man's self-discovery. Look at what happened to Blair and Chuck. She was miserable because Chuck just, I can't do it. I can't say it. So Blair was just left like hanging on for years and years and years while he like maybe worked it out. Why, girl? You're Queen B. You can go out and get anyone. And you guys are all Queen B. I'm Queen S. You're Queen whatever. We're all Queen Bs. It's ridiculous. Because the more we normalize this, the more guys are going to be like, hey, this works. Okay, this tactic works. We're going to play this. We're just going to keep on playing this card. I don't accept that shit. And also, even if he has a reason to have trust issues, okay, grow the fuck. We've all been hurt. I've been divorced. If you think that's not painful. I had my husband, my life partner ghost me. Okay? You think I don't have trust issues? You think I'm not scared to love again and put myself out there? But you know what? You just do it. Because what other choice do you have? It's like I said with the Ben and Jerry's example. You get fired from Ben and Jerry's. What's your choice? You retire at 17 or 25 or no, you get back out there, you put one foot in front of the other, and you know that, hey, if this happens again, it's going to be terrible, but I will survive because I did survive. And what doesn't kill me truly did make me stronger. If that isn't his attitude, he's not a thriver. He's a failure to launch as a man. He might be moving through the world in like an acceptable way, but either if he's using this trust issue thing, he's either a fuckboy or he's a weakling. And honestly, I don't know who I would rather deal with less, because you are neither. You are strong because you've been hurt and you picked yourself up and you're putting yourself out there. And the irony is, because he won't put himself out there either because he doesn't feel it or he's a weakling, you're overextending your vulnerability. You're overdoing it. And so you are going to be the one end up hurt and with trust issues and with an actual sad song to sing. You got to stop that cycle. It's not worth it. There's billions of people in the world. You don't need to waste your time with this person. I promise you. It is not worse than being single. Stop catastrophizing being single. Single and at peace, where you're focused on your goals and your happiness, your own fitness, your own time, your own money. That is luxury. And when you find someone who compliments you, who makes you feel that same sense of luxury and peace, that's the person you give your love to. That's the person who you are the queen bee for, not someone who makes you go out on that limb. If you guys have more questions or want to talk about this personally, privately, and get some one-on-one counseling, find me on the Instant Go app at ShallonXO and follow me on social at ShallonXO and click like and subscribe for new videos every Friday and every other day in between.